Hello, Solkana gymnastics coaches. We're going to talk about some toe to bar options, stuff to work on building up to toe to bar. So mainly I'm going to cover progressions here and ways to sort of move from one option to the next. The heart of all of this stuff is our hollow hang. So we want to get really strong in that hollow hang. Check back on the kipping video if you want more about hollow hang and its importance for kipping. Strict variations of various hanging things. We have assisted variations. So hanging in this hollow position, I can have my toes touching. We can put plates out to get enough so that we can have our toes touching. This should be fairly accessible to just about everyone. Hollow position, toes touching. So thinking about tucking my tailbone under, feet together, supporting myself. We can still think about pushing back against the bar. That's going to be a main thing that we accomplish here, is this pushing back against the bar. If we don't do that, that's where we tend to incur a lot of the swing that happens. So if I just worry about pulling my legs up without pushing the bar back, that's going to absolutely start me swinging. So that can be one quick fix for almost all of these variations. So hollow hang is a good place to start. Hollow hang marches, where I'm maintaining that hollow hang. Assisted marches are great. We could switch to a straight leg variation. So hollow hang with a straight leg lift is just going to be a little bit more work for the abs with that longer lever. From there, we can get into free hanging variations of both of those. So I can do hollow hang, knees, hollow hang, straight legs. I can also come back to touching and do a double knee or a double straight leg. So strict hanging knee tuck, or hanging knee raise, I guess, with a touch or not. That touch can sometimes be a nice thing to come back to if people start swinging, and also just to take some of the weight off the hands. So various supported hollow hang march, hollow hang leg raise, free hanging or assisted for that knee raise or that leg raise. So again, hollow hang, knee raise, hollow hang, leg raise. And even with those, if I don't spend a little bit of focus on engaging the lats and pushing into the bar, I start swinging. So when I think about just raising my legs and staying very passive through the shoulders, I start swinging. If I think a little bit more about hollow, pushing the bar back, that's going to set me up better for future variations. So we could also go to a higher knee raise called a knee to shoulder or knee to elbow. That's going to be a great way to set us up for an eventual toe to bar or toe to lower bar. Or we can start adding some kipping. It is possible to do a strict toe to bar. I can't do that very well. It might look something like this, hollow, and you can see I begin swinging. Some people, like various gymnasts, can just like whoop, fold their legs right up to the bar with no movement of the upper body. I have to really force myself to do it, so I'm going to start swinging pretty much every time, which works okay if I'm doing a kip because I'm using what would have become swing to make a kip. So for kipping variations, we're still going to jump up into that hollow variation, or that hollow hold, and that's going to give us something to swing out of to our arch position. And then as we close, instead of this time snapping to hollow, we're actually intentionally using that momentum to drive the legs up. We can continue, and we can actually get the hips to come up a little bit by pushing into the bar to build some momentum at the hips, which will eventually help us with a full toe to bar. But in this case, we're not just snapping to that hollow position like we were in our kipping drills. So, hollow, kip, knee. You can see my knees are getting fairly high there, so when we're doing a knee raise, a lot of times we're just worrying about the knee coming past the height of the hip, but we can do these knee to elbows where we're trying to get the knee even higher, working towards legs higher. So things I'm thinking about there, catching in that hollow position, pulling into the arch and then pushing the bar away as knees come up. What often happens then is the timing of the kip gets a little lost. So we can always have people start with strict variations and then do singles of a kipping variation, and then eventually try to string together kipping sets. So again, with just that knee raise, I can start right under the bar, jump to hollow, arch, knee raise, stop. Once I start putting those together, it's easy to let this become a swing, and some of it is just timing of when the knees are coming up. Whoa! So we want the shoulders to be going back as the legs come forward and vice versa. A lot of times that's returning to our arch position quickly enough. So everything has to sort of happen at the timing of the swing. And so a lot of times it's just the timing is off or a little too slow, and that's where that swing develops as we try to string together multiple reps. Knee to elbow would be the next thing to work on. So again, hollow and just a higher knee. And to get that, I'm capturing a lot of this swing energy by snapping to hollow, and then that's driving my knees up. It's also driving me back into this position, and then I'm pushing the bar away. So all that stuff kind of has to happen. And then as this takes a lot longer, we have to then come back to that arch position pretty quickly. I'll show one more time. Hollow. So we might want to take a long time to get back to our arch position and fully express that, but it's got to be up, down, something like that. So the timing is where a lot of this can go wrong. From there, if we sort of hit this position, then if we want to get toes to bar, we're just kicking up to touch the bar. So I'll try to show that in a single. So I came to this knee to elbow position, and then just a little more push and a flick, and I've kicked the bar, toe to bar, done. Now, doing singles is a great way to practice that. We get to jump up into our hollow, hit a big arch, come back, get those toes up, done. It can be very complicated to get into higher rep sets. So that might be the thing to worry about for now, is getting a kipping hanging knee raise or a kipping knee to elbow. And of course we can work on these toe to lower bar. It's going to be very similar. So just a lower target, but we still want to have that full arch, and then we want to be using that drive to get the knees high and then the flick to kick. Some people will do like a very straight leg toe to bar, and that's fine. I think it can be harder to get that first. So toe to lower bar. So on and so forth. There are other sort of things to think about in terms of cycling your reps quickly or efficiently for higher level people, but I think this basic progression, working on some strict stuff, working on some kipping knee raise potentially might cover most of people's places where they're going to want to make progress.